G'day, Chief. Welcome to the Inner Chief podcast and this special episode, which we call the Mini Chief. These are short, sharp highlights from our fabulous CEO guests, where you get a 5 to 10 minute snapshot of the highlights from their episode. Righto, Chief. Without further ado, here is the Mini Chief episode for this week with Dr. Lia DiBello.
A lot of companies believe that their problem is something that it's not. So we worked with a mining company, for example, in Australia, that believed that they needed to expand the mine itself. And our economists did an analysis, and we said to them, the mine is fine and the ore body is rich enough. What you need to do is make better use of your processing plant. You need to get more of the precious metal out of the ore that you're taking out, the material you're taking out. You have enough there to make a lot of money. And you have enough processing equipment to get it out. You just need to look at it differently. You need a different mental model. So we built them an actual model, and they played with it for 2 days, and they saw what we meant, and they came up with an approach for doing it, and they sold the mine for several $1 billion about 6 months later.
Now, when you talk about you built them a model or you take people through a simulation, what we're talking here is you build a computer-based model that emulates or simulates the real world. Is that right?
Well, it depends. We build them either a physical model that they can play with, like
a scale model of their business or something.
Yeah, like sometimes if it's a factory, we'll find an empty building and we'll build them a scale model of their factory that they can actually go in and run.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, or we'll build them a virtual world model of their business that they can log in as avatars and go in and run it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a distributed company where people have to do it together from different parts of the world, and they can all meet in there.
Yeah.
Like a multiplayer virtual
Yeah, sure.
world.
Yeah.
And if it's a big company, like it's a mine or it's a manufacturing company, and the actual work is important to do differently, a virtual world is helpful because you can actually go in and do it.
Yeah, there's a great scene in Apollo 13 where I think it's the reserve pilot, who doesn't go up into space with Tom Hanks and the other astronauts to go to the moon. He stays behind because he was sick, and then the disaster happens where there's a gas leak. But they need Kevin Bacon to go back into the simulator, and under very trying circumstances, with a whole bunch of less resources, is to somehow safely get the ship back to Earth. And he tries again and again and again and again. And every time he fails, he has to come out and say, we've got to change this, we have to change this, we have to change this, we have to change this. And it's this process of trial and error, but in a real world scenario, that they realise their mental model was wrong, and eventually they get it right.
Right.
And it's quite a good, I suppose, description where this is what you're essentially building, is a scale model of what's going to happen. But now you get to practice safely, right, and get all the benefits of the learning before you go into the real world and apply. Right.
And the reason you want to build a model is because, people think they can build a simulation without people in it. And they have all these assumptions about what people think that aren't actually true.
Oh, yeah.
That you actually... Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I'm certain, I'm certain that you would find during the building of the simulation that that's cathartic in its own right. Like people having to say, well, how is this exactly simulated? Because I'm certain that would teach them so much about their own assumptions, about their own beliefs, that the learning involved in just that would be invaluable.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. how we build the simulations is interesting too. We do field work. It's kind of like when I was a little girl walking around the neighborhood interviewing people. We kind of do the same thing. We interview people. We go to their work sites. We sort of see how they view the work now and what their blind spots are, and we build that in. We build it in so that it's easy to do it wrong and it's easy to do it right.
Mm. I think this is one of the major reasons that projects fail is the assumptions each and every one of us carries about everyone else's mental models, everyone else's priorities, everyone else's level of commitment, everyone else's ability or capability to get the job done.
Right.
Is that one of the main reasons? And why do major projects fail? Because the level of work you do, Leah, is on these multi-billion-dollar organisations. It's enormous, but so many of those fail. Why is that? Not the projects you work on, by the way. I know they don't fail, but the other ones.
Well, because of the assumptions.
Yeah.
Think about the Kevin Bacon story that you just told me. Think about what would have happened if they didn't practice,
Yep.
right? I mean, you go left instead of right, and you're toast, right? I mean, people believe these so-called minor things are minor when actually they're major.
Yeah. So they underestimate the importance of one little thing.
Yeah. And
yeah.
it might be the most critical thing.
Yeah.
And, we were working with a company that makes power generation equipment. And these are multi-billion-dollar turbine systems. And the company almost went under because they didn't ever order enough bolts. The bolts. I mean, we're talking about a screw and a nut.
Oh my gosh.
That holds the thing on,
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so go down to Home Depot and buy them. I mean, it's not like, and it was they would make a federal case out of, it would be an engineering change. I'm like, just drive down the street, buy them, get this multi-million-dollar unit on the truck and shipped, I mean, this whole idea about what's allowed and what's important, and, it was never important enough to plan a bolt, but it obviously couldn't be shipped without it.
Righto, Chief. There you have it for this week with our mini Chief episode. To get all the links and resources for this episode, please check out Leah's work, chiefmaker.com/318. And if you'd like to stay in touch with Chiefmaker, just go to chiefmaker.com/subscribe.
Now, Chief, do you want to take your game to a new level, or that of your people? Our mini MBA in leading high performance teams now has the highest NPS of any mini MBA style program in Australia at 91. Why? Because when you do the program, you get immediate and tangible performance improvement. You get dedicated time working on the business as opposed to away from it. We have a practical, real-world approach where we teach frameworks that you implement in your business as we go, and then you share and learn with your peers and with me as your coach. So the cost benefit is immediate, right? The weekly coaching sessions are live and you get a chance to ask questions direct to me and of your peers, and the time management is completely achievable because you're only spending a couple of hours a week on this at max, and those 2 hours are actually working on the business. So if you want to add something that really changes your game, that helps you become a real master of transformation and change, and to inspire your people and love your job, check out chiefmaker.com/mini MBA.
Righto, Chief. As always, remember to stay